Alrighty everyone, hello and welcome to Sinful Gaming. We're here in celebration of the Age of Sigmar's Soulbound RPG coming out today. You know, what as well, let's do a hobby hangout. If there's anyone out there with any questions about the game, I was and had the privilege to be a playtester in the game. So if you've got questions at all, I can try and answer them, or if not, I'll make sure they're properly answered, hopefully, in the review that I do with other playtesters. So we'll have that coming out on the channel soon. But we're just here to hobby. I'm working on some Gloomspike kits today. Hope my sound is working well. If you're there and my sound is working, let me know. And we'll chat away. In the corner, you've got a bunch of the archetypes that are all playable in the roleplay game. So hopefully they're all nice and cool for you to have a look at. And yeah, if you're in the comments, sound out and let me know what you're working on. So, just letting people know we're live, and we'll get into this. And just letting people know we're live. Awesome. If you've got any questions at all about Age of Sigmar Soulbound, chuck them in the comments. If not, let me know what you're working on hobby-wise. I've got a loon boss here that I'm painting up at the moment. So. Yeah, so Age of Sigmar Soulbound was just released, and I had the pleasure to playtest the game. It is not just because I'm so excited and I love the Age of Sigmar setting, it is honestly one of the best roleplay games I've ever had the pleasure of playing. It just ticked all the boxes for me. Super simple, with lots of depth to it, that it just, yeah, it ticks all those boxes. Like, not needlessly complicated for the sake of having lots of rules and complicated stuff. It's a game that people are going to be able to get into nice and easy and just enjoy themselves with. Hope my sound is working all nice and well. So, just double check my sound levels. Just double checking my sound levels for everyone. No, I don't want to. Let me go here. Let's check. Bloody hell. Sound's not working, is it? Same with input. Oh dear. My sound's working. It just played in my Bluetooth speaker in the house. So. Oh dear. Cool. Sound seems to be working fine. So let's get back to painting some grots. So yeah, if you're in the comments, let us know what you're working on, and let's start talking a little bit about Age of Sigmar Soulbound, I guess. So it's obviously a roleplay game produced by Cubicle 7, much in the same vein as like Warhammer Fantasy, roleplay and all those sort of stuff. Alright, so we're just working on some of the glue spot at the moment. We need some pallid wood flesh. Alright, so yeah. If you're watching, let us know what you're doing. We're just slowly working our way through these grots. All his mushroomness. Sorry, I'm just having to check the wife. Alrighty, so we got that colour down. The mushrooms are starting to look pretty cool. Starting to look pretty A-OK. Alright, so we need a bit of corn red. These guys will make excellent model spatties in Age of Sigmar Soulbound as well, so always good to have some goblins lying about. Alright, so just popping some corn red down on this dude. Alright, and so... Smashing out this little loon boss here. Make a great little villain for Soulbound for a party to come across, I reckon. So, just checking up my paint recipe at the moment. I can remember what colour I put on next. I'm pretty sure it's the other red. No, I don't want to look at Soulbound at the moment. I'll look at a different book. If you're in the comments and you're interested in Soulbound at all, chuck some questions. I'm more than happy to answer what I can. We will have a proper review out on the channel soon of the game. So, and yeah, or let us know what hobby you're working on at the moment if you're in the chat. Alright, what comes next? It was darker red. What do I do for the other red mushrooms that I painted up? Need a Wasdacker somewhere. Wasdacker red. And so, just apparently there have been some issues with the site. Apparently it crashed because so many people jumped on it, which is good. That so many people are excited to see Soulbound be a thing. I'm really happy that people are jumping on board with it. So if you're in the comments, let us know what you're excited for Age of Sigmar Soulbound. You can see all the characters there dropping the sides. I'm painting up some dudes. I'll probably use these in Oh, hey Nash, how are we, mate? Good to see you. Just painting up some grots, and I'll have something to use them as some cool enemies soon enough. For Age of Sigmar Soulbound, that's just been released today. So, Age of Sigmar Soulbound is a tabletop role-playing game that's released by Cubicle 7 and Games Workshop for the Age of Sigmar setting. Very much a D&D for Age of Sigmar, which is really cool. I had the pleasure of playtesting the game, so quite excited to see it finally released and be able to talk about it properly. So. There's an ant on my computer screen. So Soulbound is very simple on the the front of it, it has a lot more depth than like just looking at its basis would seem. It's some really cool mechanics. It uses a D6 pooling system, which is obviously a lot different than D&D. So the idea is you're rolling like batches of D6 or regular dice, trying to hit target numbers, and the more of that number you roll, you sort of beat like level C. The base of a test, say you're trying to hit a difficulty 3 test, or like a test would be like say a difficulty 3 bracket 4. And so the idea is that you're needing a difficulty number of you're needing a difficulty of 3, so you need to roll 3 plus on the d6, but the 4 is that you need to roll it 4 times. So you've got 6 dice, you need to roll 4 3 pluses to succeed. That's like a really advanced sort of test, but like most tests are just like roll one of this, roll one of that. Until you start getting at higher levels, trying to do harder stuff like magic and fight with big opponents and stuff like that. So yeah, that's the basis of it. Probably on for an hour or so tonight. Few people, and I should have a proper review on the channel out later this week. Now, what you're seeing in the sidebar of all the pictures appear is a bunch of different characters that are available to be played in the roleplay game. Oh, nice. Yeah, I think it's a very unused sort of system like D6. I think not just D6. I think pool systems in a way are like very nice and very user friendly. They're actually probably my preferred way to play roleplay games. I find with like a pooling system, it's really easy just to look at something and know what you got. It's like playing a game of Warhammer. Like, you need 3s to hit. Cool, I rolled 3s to hit. Like, and that's the simplicity of what a pooling system can bring. Magicera Orange, wherever that's gone. So yeah, I think pooling systems are like a really good mechanic in RPGs. It's not explored enough. It's something I'm a big fan of. They can be quite simple on the first look at them, and then once you start to figure out like ways on like how they change, they can become quite complex and quite interactive and fun. There's really cool ways you can interact with them. Much like how you can interact with dice in like a normal game of Warhammer. Yeah, like it's not just rolling one dice and like you feel like you're rolling like dice with meaning. It's cool. You can change up the mechanics. So how this works is generally, I always forget. So you have trainings and specializations, right? So say you've got, there's only 3 stats in the game. There's so say body, you're trying to resist someone hitting you or something, or being pushed or something like that. Let's just say this for an example. It might be a terrible example, but let's just say this is happening. You're rolling on your body. Your body score is 3, for instance, and you have training in, say, let's say you have training in weapon skills, so you're blocking them, blocking their push with like their weapon, with like your weapon or something, and so you get an extra dice in your pool, which means you can roll 4 dice because you've got 3 body plus 1 training. But then you've also got a specialization in weapon skill, which means one of your dice you can add +1 to. So say you're trying to hit 3 4s on that, and you roll 2 4s and a 3 and a 2, you can use your specialization to bump that 3 up to a 4, meaning you succeed the test. You can also try and like bump up stuff to get crits, because crits are based on like a number of successes. And yeah, it's really cool. I love how there's like little eyes on the mushrooms on this model. It's like got eye stalks on like this big mushroom underneath him, and then this one over here's got like a little like frowny face. Yeah, so skills add to the dice pool. Specializations allow you to add 2 dice, like give pluses to your dice, and that's the general gist of how tests are done the game throughout. It's another cool system. There's no leveling in the game. There's no levels at all. There's like experience points that you can spend, and like they generally used to do stuff, but there's no actual like level points or anything like that. So everything is available to be purchased, and like skills and specializations. So you're not bound by equipment that can only be purchased at a certain level. You can freely pick what you want. Whether that be stat upgrades or more skills or more specializations or more talents and abilities and stuff like that. You can do what you want. I think it's done a really good part of making it. It took the best parts of what makes Age of Sigmar great. So Age of Sigmar is great because it's a very simple game on the surface, but there's so much depth to it once you get playing at that sort of more experienced level. And that's what makes Age of Sigmar great. Like, it's a very basic game. You can pick up, roll some dice, and have some fun in open play of Age of Sigmar. You know, you can buy a Soulbound set, split it with your mate, and it's a great and easy game to pick up. But then as you start to add stuff, you start seeing all those like things like activation wars and piling in mechanics and movement shenanigans and all those cool things that Age of Sigmar has, and like the depth that it actually has. And this roleplay game is very much like that. You could pick this up with a bunch of roleplay game noobs who've not played roleplay games before and run it quite smoothly on your first try. You know, there'll be like learning and all that, but it wouldn't be any harder than playing your first game of Age of Sigmar. And then from there you can like really start to delve in. Like there's an archetype designer, so it shows you rules to sort of bend the archetype rules to make what you want, which is really cool. And it really helps it be like free flowing. By now, I don't think you can guess. There's like nothing I have but good things to say about it. And it's like, it's not just because I got to play test the game, and I'm happy and excited that I got the privilege to do such a thing. However, I do think it is one of the best roleplay games I've ever played in my life. So, yeah. It's a really good, solid game. I really recommend people giving it a shot. Soren, good morning, mate. How are we? I'm in a very bright and happy mood this morning. Because I finally got to share Age of Sigmar Soulbound with the world. Now the rest of the world can go play this game. I don't know about you, Soren, if you play like roleplay games at all, or stuff like D&D, if you enjoy that sort of stuff. But Oh, Chosen. They are some freaking sweet models, man. I must say. Also, if you're in the chat, please don't forget to like the video. Every like helps people find the channel more, and we're growing and growing with that sort of stuff. Doing really well with the likes and stuff, which is awesome. So yeah, if you're in the chat, shout out what you're working on. If you're interested in Age of Sigmar Soulbound and you have questions, feel free to shout out questions for Soulbound. I had the privilege of playtesting it. I've been playtesting it for the past 6 months almost, reading over rules and stuff like that. So, oh, awesome! Sorry. I've been DMing for the good part of 12 years now. And it's not just because I've got... Oh, wow. If you can hear that fuzz, it has just started bucketing down with rain here. Out of nowhere. Oh, nice. You're working on your True Lord Ancient. That's awesome, man. As I was saying though, I've got about 12 years experience in roleplay games, and wow, that is really hammering down out there. That has come out of absolutely nowhere. I don't know if you can hear that. If there's like a fuzz, it is bucketing outside. Wow. But yeah, so I've been playing roleplay games for about 12 years, and this has to be one of the most well-designed and best roleplay games I've ever played. Oh, nice. Yes, I saw you're finishing Monster Marathi. That looks amazing, man. Missed the sound of rain. Yeah, we've had a really, really wet start to our sort of rainy season in South Australia. Yeah, I'm going to turn my sound down a little bit. Can you still hear me? I've just turned my sound down a little bit, trying to hope I don't get the echo as much. I can't do anything about it. Just out there, and is my sort of outdoor area, so it's tin roof out there, so it just hammers on it. It's quieting down a bit now. That's good. Hope my sound's still alright. Just turn down a little bit, turn my gain down and stuff, to hopefully not make it so horrendous. We've had the wettest start to our rainy. We've had the wettest April on record this year, and last year we had the hottest April on record. The rain is bothering me. Oh, it isn't bothering me. Cool. I'll just turn my sound up a little bit more. It's stopped now. It's not pouring like it was. Your first sentence there had me worried. I'm like, oh no, it's bothering you. I'm like, don't leave me. But nah, all good. But yeah, as I was saying, in about 12 years, this is one of the best roleplay games I've ever played. It's so simple with such depth to its rules that like the simplicity at the start doesn't sort of give. But simplicity in roleplay games, I think, is great. Simplicity with good rules behind them, which is what this does, is what makes it great. It's not just a simple system and then the like design behind it is terrible, which makes it not very fun. It's a simple system which will allow you to freely use your creative influence. I think games masters are going to love it. I think players are going to love it. But yeah. I play tested predominantly as a games master for it. But, you know, the coolest thing of all of this, I have my name in a Warhammer book. I don't think there's like, it's something off the bucket list. Getting your name in a book with Games Workshop and Warhammer, that's awesome. I've got my name printed in the book. That's all I could ask for. And it was really nice of Cubicle 7 to do that. They printed the name of everyone who play tested, however little, and it's great. Like, I think it's a great thing for them to do to everyone who helped along the way. I will say with like Cubicle 7, they are a fantastic company. I had nothing but good experiences with how like professional and stuff they were helping with the stuff. There was always someone on hand to ask questions with, and we had really good lines of communication to the developers and stuff. Yeah, probably don't drag them away from like D&D, but Soulbound's probably like Soulbound would be as good as 5th edition to get people into tabletop role playing, if not better. Like, I really think they've made a game that not only will be great for Warhammer in general, but I think it'll be great for the wider gaming community, because I think it's really that good a game. This might catch on the way like Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the early editions did. First and second Warhammer Fantasy editions are like cult classic roleplay games. People love those games. And yeah, I think this has the potential to be something really special roleplay game wise. No, Cubicle 7 are really good with putting out supplements containing that. For Warhammer Fantasy, they've got a lot of supplements out already. So that's like something, and with supplements it's always the same. Like, Cubicle 7 are not a giant company, they're not like Fantasy Flight Games, so they will not be pumping out Cubicle 7, like, they're not Fantasy Flight Games, they won't be trying to bankroll this by just sending out stuff after stuff. I do really recommend pre-ordering the game and helping support the company. They're a good company. They've written good rules. Like, the One Ring is a fantastic, like the Lord of the Rings game they had. They've also got the Doctor Who RPG. I'm not that big a Doctor Who fan myself. Probably only really watched Doctor Who through like David Tennant and Matt Smith era. That's all I really have of Doctor Who, but I've heard good things of the Doctor Who RPG that they do. Their Warhammer Fantasy 4th edition adaptation is really good. It sort of harkens back. It's a bit more complex, but that's always Warhammer Fantasy roleplay. Like, they've really harkened back to the early editions of it. And they also took over the license for Wrath and Glory, which is the Warhammer 40,000 RPG that another company had. I can't remember the name of it, and did not a great job with, and they've sort of tidied up and cleaned up the rules for that, so that's fantastic. Also, if you're a roleplay, well, there's something to check out from Cubicle 7. Just on the note too, if you're into Warhammer 40,000 and like roleplay games, or even just into roleplay games, Cubicle 7 when they got the Warhammer rights, they got all the rights to the stuff that Fantasy Flight Games used to have, so Deathwatch, Rogue Trader, Dark Heresy and all that, so you can actually go buy the PDFs off them. But at the moment, they have the entire set of the Deathwatch RPGs on Humble Bundle, and you can get them for like $15 Australian. So the entire Deathwatch RPG, which is the Deathwatch Space Marines roleplay game. So that's on Humble Bundle, like really cheap if you want. Deathwatch is probably the best dick swinging contest RPG there is. Like, it makes no mistakes on what it's trying to do. You're trying to be a Space Marine, showing that you're the best Space Marine that's ever Space Marined in the Space Marine world. So I really like Deathwatch. It's some of my fondest memories of roleplay games are actually in Deathwatch, and the cool stuff you can do in it. So that's on Humble Bundle, which you can go pick up really cheap. So that's something else to get as well. If you're into that sort of thing as well. Sorry, just jumping into... I've got so many notifications coming out my butt. And if you're in the chat, there's a couple of other people who aren't chatting, so let me know what you're doing and what you're hopping on. If you've got questions about Soulbound, feel free to ask. Just drop questions down with Soulbound. Yeah. Sorry, I've got like 20 million notifications going off from getting my name put in a book. A whole bunch of people have sent like that stuff. But, you know, I just got to playtest. Full credit goes to like Cubicle 7 and the team they have there. Waiting for the website to undie. Yeah. That happens a lot with Age of Sigmar. I mean, it turns out when you release the only Age of Sigmar game, that new thing for Age of Sigmar, that people that like Age of Sigmar sort of flock to the new thing. I think this game's probably gotten a lot more traction. It's probably intentional from Cubicle 7 to release it while still release it at the time they had planned while lockdown was happening, because people haven't got much else to really order or stuff, do they? It's actually quite a good time for them to release it. Fair enough, Nash. It's out there for anyone who is watching. Humble Bundle, you can go get the Deathwatch RPG for real cheap. But yeah, while you're waiting for the website to undie, if you have any questions, throw them out. More than happy to answer what I can. And we'll be having a full... I've got to scratch my arm. A little man, fucking his toenail scratched my arm, and it is so painful. Like, I properly grazed and cut my arm up. Little arsehole. Actually hurts. You first did it, I'm like, oh, you scratched me, and then it's actually like red raw and like a proper graze. I'm like, oh, okay. And now I keep hitting it because it's like just above my elbow. But yeah. But yeah, like I said, I'll be doing a full review later in the week. So I think my Loon Boss is almost done. Got that. Got a few small little bits to do. And then I think he's done. And we can start working on some members of the Gobblepalooza. I actually need to go out and get another painter. I don't have some colours to do the spores and stuff on some of the squigs and the fanatics. The Star Ferret. Saw it on Discord. So from what it's one of the archetypes I didn't get to playtest as much. The other group was doing more of them, but there's a character called the two. Right, Phil. First of all, the two unrevealed archetypes that they haven't revealed and are now obviously revealed are a Dark and Coven Sorceress and a Trade Pioneer, aka Realms Walker. So the Realms Walker is effectively someone who's crossed the realms and he's like a seasoned traveller of the realms. He is the character that gets the Star Ferret. It's like something that can read constellations and stuff like that. It's cool. It is the artwork they have for that character. I won't spoil because I haven't released it outside the book, but I think that's the best character artwork in the entire book. It's also probably one of my favourite pieces. It's just amazing, and it looks so cool and so cute. Star Ferrets are needed in my life. I so hope that it's so cute. I reckon I can control parties with it. Party's doing this. I'm gonna have the bad guy steal. Party won't go fight my bad guy. I'm gonna steal their Star Ferret, and then they'll have to come fight my bad guy because they're gonna want that Star Ferret back. So yeah, a Trade Pioneer is a really interesting sort of archetype that you can is probably the most customizable archetype there is, and they do what they say, like they're very skill heavy sort of characters. Probably if you're looking for the most balanced, and they're a lot more knowledgeable, while the well-rounded character that's like more combat well-rounded and fighty well-rounded and offensive well-rounded is probably the Scourge Privateer, the Black Art Corsair. He's really well-rounded as well. So they're probably two most well-rounded characters. The Daughters again, interesting. They've got a Hag Priestess and a Witch Elf, and they pretty much fit into buff and combat. The Hag Priestess is all about buffing, and the Witch Elf is all about combat. Stormcuts have a good variety. They've got an Archer in the Venator. They've got a support dude in the Azeroth, combat dude in the Quester. The Quester is good. Yeah, it's somewhat like a familiar. That's probably the easiest way to explain it without spending hours and hours explaining it. But that's pretty much what it does. It's like you're not magical though. Like Trade Pioneer generally isn't magical, but it works as like some sort of like. So the thing you need to remember about Soulbound is there's like an underlying narrative that is what Soulbound is. So the Soulbound is a party of people who are bound together by the soul, by the gods. And so Star Ferret is sort of gifted to them. Potentially. There could be lots of different ways you get it. And yeah, we'll go into like a lot of like very deep mechanics in the what do we call it? Review. and I'll be doing that with other playtesters. But yeah, it has like some cool little mechanics. Actually, let me pull up. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull up my book and make sure I'm giving you the correct information, because I like making sure I'm correct. But yeah, internet's been crummy. I have to do this manually. If you're in the comments, have things you'd like to know. Right, what page do I need? My phone's being super slow because of running my internet out of it, because the internet inside is not being fun. 53. Cool. Well, we'll wait for that to load. Oh. 53. Yeah, a Mustori is what it's called. Alright, here we are. I'm getting to it. Got to figure out the actual where the book is now. Ah, yes. Of course. How could I forget? That's what its goddamn mechanic is. So the main thing that the Mustori does, which is the Star Ferret, is that it allows the Trade Pioneer to always know what is coreward and what is edgeward. So obviously, Age of Sigmar, the realms are, like a plane, like a disc, like Discworld. So it always knows the way and always knows center and out. And that's the main thing the story does. They are terrible in everything, and they allow you can never become lost except through powerful magic or divine intervention. They're a compass. That's a beast. Alright, well I think I've got to call my loon boss here done. Pretty happy with him. Get some grilling earth on him. So, pile this on nice and thick. All right. From what it sounded like from G-Dub, we're not going to see him till June. I'm sorry. That's what it sounded like to me. Which is unfortunate, but it seems like that's what's going to happen. It's definitely not before June for any releases. But I've hit my hour mark. It's getting pretty late here for me. It's like 11:30. So gonna call it a night. Thanks everyone for jumping on. It's been fun hanging and chatting with everyone. There will be a proper review coming on the channel for the RPG very soon, as well as there will also be some actual gameplay. We'll have some actual play stuff. I've got a playtester group that'll be running through a short campaign. So that's all from me. Make sure you stay safe, stay well. Don't forget to give the video a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you all very shortly. Ciao for now.